So I'm not gonna lie, in years past, February has not been one of my favorite months. It's actually been probably my least favorite. It just feels dreary and like it drags on, and despite the fact that it is the shortest month of the year, it feels so long. But this year, thankfully, praise God, has felt so much different so far. We're over halfway through it. It feels like it's really on the up and up since January. I just feel like there's been such a breath of fresh air in the buttercups blooming outside, the warmer days. Of course, today as I'm recording this, it's back down to 40 degrees, but we're getting some of the little false springs that we get down here in the South. It's been really, really good, I think, for us all emotionally and mentally, and I'm just really excited about it. However, with the kind of constant change in weather that we've been having lately, it does bring about a lot of confusion in our bodies. Our allergies are playing a lot of catch up right now. They're just trying to figure out what in the world is going on and what's blooming, but it's still cold and our bodies are trying to stay warm, and there's just a lot of confusion going on, I think, in the air and inside our bodies as well. So with that, I'm very excited to share with you today something that I've been wanting to put together for quite some time now, and I just want to give a disclaimer right off the bat, right up front, that I am no expert in this. I am absolutely super duper beginner, like probably the most beginner of a beginner that a beginner can be. This is a whole world that has so many different nuances, different rabbit holes, so many different approaches to it as well. And so I just want to clarify that my intent in creating this home apothecary, which is what we will be doing today, by the way, my intent in this and in learning more about the use of herbs and natural remedies is solely for the purpose of having the knowledge and the skill set to take care of my family with clean ingredients at any given moment. And that's just where I'm going to leave it, because there are a whole lot of other things, like in a bigger picture as well as in the finer details. There's a lot of things spiritually that really you can get into the weeds on this with, and there's a lot of things with witchcraft. As soon as you look it up on Pinterest or Google, it's just, you get flooded with like kitchen witchery and all of these different headlines and labels that can oftentimes get associated with this. Anyways, I'm not going to get into all of it, but I just want you to know that that's not the approach I'm taking on this. I simply am using this for practical reasons, and of course, as a follower of Christ, I believe that God created a lot of things on this earth to help us and to heal the bodies that He has designed. So I do think that there's a spiritual element, but I'm not trying to get into all of that here. I just want to give you my main focus and intent on doing this, and I'm going to share a little bit about it, but really I just am not trying to tell you that I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to just show you that we're figuring this out as we go, and I'm super excited to get this ball rolling. So I'm figuring out where to start, because there is just a slew of so many different herbs that you can purchase and that you can find information on that seem to be so beneficial and wonderful. But when I was trying to figure out how and where do I actually start on this, I just kind of went with the basics of what it is that our family struggles with the most, or what it is that we typically reach for in our medicine cabinet and why. And what I found was we have really 4 main things that come to mind when I look at it that way. And that is, number 1, pain and inflammation. So arthritis, joint pain, sciatica, all of those things, muscle soreness, pain, inflammation. And then of course your allergy meds, cough, runny nose, headache, sinus pressure. And then anxiety is another thing. I don't typically reach for medicine in that area, but it's something that I definitely try to keep a close watch on through gut health and, natural ways rather than medications themselves. So definitely want to incorporate things that will help in that area. And then lastly is the digestive, tummy troubles, those kinds of things. So if you're new here, I am married and I have 2 little girls. One is 1, one is 3. So with our family makeup and dynamic, that's kind of what we most often are needing in terms of medications or ailments. So while I would love to be able to plant and harvest these things here on our property, and we are kind of beginner gardeners as well. This will be our second year gardening, but we're expanding quite a bit this year. You'll see some footage coming up where I'm sowing some seeds to start indoors to be transplanted later. But I think I'll also drop in here some footage of how we have covered our garden area, our intended garden area, with landscaping fabric, and we're hoping to kill off any grass that's still there, since like I said, we are expanding. And then we're going to till when it gets a little bit closer to sowing day, and so I'm very excited for that. Looking forward to hopefully having a successful harvest this year. We are just trying to stick with vegetables for the most part because we really want to get that figured out, and then add on medicinal herbs and flowers. I would love to have a full-fledged medicinal garden in addition to our vegetable garden, but I'm trying to take it slowly and accomplish one thing at a time, not bite off more than I can chew. I have a bad problem with that. But in saying all of that, for now, I did source my herbs from an online supplier, and that company is Monterey Bay Herb Company. And I looked up a couple of articles just to make sure that they still checked out. I've been using them for years because we have been doing elderberry syrup homemade for several years now, probably 3 or 4, 5 years, I don't know, something like that. And I've always gotten my elderberries from them. It used to be called something different, but I believe that they acquired the smaller company that I was previously sourcing berries from. So I just wanted to make sure, I haven't checked up in a while, to make sure that they're still highly rated and reviewed as a clean source. So I did look that up, and they still check out as one of the top 5 online herb suppliers. So definitely do your research as well, but just wanted to make it clear that I'm not out here just throwing names or, trusting anybody to supply these things for me and my family. But they are who I got the herbs from. However, I did also want to mention that one of my main inspirations and influencers, as like a wealth of knowledge to me and just a full-on gold mine in my opinion, is the Honeystead. She's here on YouTube. Definitely check her out. I'll have her link down in the description box, but she just makes it look so simple, even to the point of foraging around your property and just finding things that are already growing naturally and then knowing what to do with them and how to put them to good use. And I absolutely love that. I want to learn everything from her. So I really enjoyed her videos and just wanted to pass her name along. So between the Honeystead and Monterey Bay Herb Company, those are the 2 places that I've gotten a lot of information. I've also had a few books given to me about the use of herbs in medicine, and so that has played a small part, but most of it has come from the other.
I figured y'all trampoline as soon as they get home.
Yeah.
Were they on the trampoline or just at the...
All over. Well, we did play in the rocks for a while at first,
I may
so
have
it
missed
could have
that,
been
maybe
then.
where you was at.
Yeah.
Ooh. Y'all coming over when she wakes up?
Planning to.
From her. Look. She wore that chicken out. She run like that for an hour, I'm sure, without getting tired.
Yeah, probably.
I will say that I've also gotten a lot of my information from, and especially recipes and things like that, from Pinterest. And I feel like that almost discounts the
Yeah, you can climb that tree.
source or the information
help you right
in and
now,
of
baby.
itself whenever you say that. But I have just gotten a lot of valuable, quick information from there. And then I will go on the Monterey Bay Herb Company website, and before ordering, they have descriptions under each of their products that kind of give you an idea of what it's most useful for and how it's most useful and those kinds of things. So as long as those 2 line up, I typically go with it. And so I have a whole board on my Pinterest account as well, labeled Apothecary, and that's just where I save all of these things. Or if we're currently struggling with something, then I'll look up, natural herbs that combat this and this, and I'll just find some things or some recipes or some, even if I don't have the time to do it in that very moment, I'll save it on that board for later. So I also will have that link down below if you want to check it out. But that's definitely more of one that you just use with caution, and definitely fact check and make sure that information is legitimate before going off of anything that I have saved or anything that anyone else has shared. That's not
Very good.
that's not necessarily been proven to be effective or safe or many other things that, you want to take into consideration with matters such as this. So just to give you a quick overview of the herbs that I'm starting with, like I said, I have been doing elderberry for years, so definitely just go ahead and include that one in this list that I'm about to give you. But here's the ones that I've purchased and that you saw me jarring up in the beginning of this video, and that I will be diving into trying to figure out what all to do with them. But it is turmeric, ginger, lemon balm, lavender, chamomile, rose petals, yarrow, marshmallow root, and passion flower. So a lot of these kind of overlap, and because they are so widespread in what they're good for and what they are effective in, there's a lot of overlapping. So I'm not going to tell you which ones I got for what reason specifically, because even I don't know which ones will be most effective for which uses. But that's kind of the ones that I felt confident about starting with based on what I shared earlier, with our family's typical medicinal needs. I certainly encourage you to look into these if you're kind of looking for somewhere as a starting point to jump off of. These are the ones that, especially like turmeric, ginger, lavender, chamomile. I mean, mostly everybody has heard of those, whether through like supplements or health food stores, or even if you go and get massages or you do essential oils, or just any kind of like aromatherapy, most of the time involves lavender. And so those are if you're a tea drinker, all of these are very, very, very common. So that's kind of where I felt confident starting at, and I'm really looking forward to figuring out all of the many ways to put them to use, both with apothecary and gardening needs, as well as many other things around my house. I feel like I'm constantly being challenged in the area of contentment. If you've been around here any amount of time, you've heard me talk about how frustrating this closet is to me, because, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about it at this point, but it is our master closet, it is our laundry room, and it is our bulk food storage, as well as our utility closet. So for now, that's where I'm having to keep our indoor seeds with grow lights, because we do not have any better options. The only other two closets are in our daughter's rooms. We don't have a basement or anything like that, and so the only place to really keep them out of the way from little hands, as well as out of the way and not those lights have to stay on over half of the day at a time, and so for those to not be a distraction while we're trying to sleep, or just annoying for anything else, keeping them in that closet is the best place. So for now, I just pushed all of our canned goods over to the side, and I will link as well the seed starter trays and grow light kit that I got online for any who might be looking for an economical and just good starter option for that as well. But as I was saying, contentment has been such a struggle. It always is. I think it always has been throughout my life. Just by nature, I want more than what I have. I want to be able to do more than what I'm currently capable of. I just always want more. And I think to a certain extent, that's obviously not a bad thing. It's good to have drive and motivation and to want to accomplish things. And I always want to be learning. But at the same time, I want to be able to say, what I have is sufficient, and I am still a work in progress, and I need to have more patience and grace towards myself. So in saying that, it has just been quite the challenge to get to the point of actually going for it and doing this and just starting somewhere, because I did not have access to these natural tips and tricks all my life. Like, this is just not something that's ever been part of my lifestyle or anything that I've really been around a whole lot. So I'm trying to soak it up like a sponge. But when you're a stay-at-home mom, basically, I teach half-day preschool, so I think that might even add to the lack of mental energy that I have every day. But when you're trying to pack information consumption into every nook and cranny of the day, it is exhausting. And I just don't know how. After doing this, I told my husband, I was like, I do not know how people go back to school for their masters when they have little kids at home. I just have no clue. Like, rock on, y'all. You are amazing. If that's you, if you've done that, You are my hero. My hat's off to you. I could not. Even just trying to write down the information in my recipe book with like during quiet time, nap time was more than I could handle for 2 days in a row. So I'm very much looking forward to the day when this is all second nature to me. It's like muscle memory, and I've just been doing it for so long that I don't even have to think about what loose leaves to mix together into my tea infuser to treat whatever it is that I or a friend or a family member is feeling that day. That is going to be like, that's goals. That is what I'm looking forward to. That's what I'm really excited about. But I recognize that, you know, you got to start somewhere. You got to put in the legwork now. So basically all that I have done so far with these is I made one tea to help kind of combat some allergies. That was a chamomile and ginger tea, I believe, and then I put some cinnamon in there as well, and honey. And then me and the girls actually mixed up these lavender and lemon balm ice cubes because I put them into our youngest daughter's water bottle. She's been struggling a lot with different, cough, congestion, just cold-like symptoms. And so I really wanted to try and help her out a little bit. I will say that I'll definitely be grinding them down next time I do that into more of like a powder form with my mortar and pestle, because it was very, like, obviously whenever the ice cube melts in the water, you can taste the herbs. So it's like, it's supposed to be herb infused ice cubes, but I want to grind them down into a finer texture next time I do that. And then I have so many things saved and so many things on my list that I want to learn more about and do more research on, with salves and tinctures as well, but especially like facial toners and those kinds of things, like topical treatment uses. I want to learn more about those probably next. Like, that's the next thing that I'm after. And just because that's something that I feel like we use a lot, like, band-aids are used a lot in our house, so Neosporins, wound care, things of that nature, skin irritations. And then for my own uses, like for personal skincare, a lot of those kinds of things, I'm excited to be able to treat some of those with homemade products. So I know that this is very different than my typical style of video and vlog, but I just wanted to share something that's been on my mind and heart for quite some time. As a homemaker, this is something that's very much been at the forefront for me in the last 6 to 8 months, year maybe. So whenever you see me in future vlogs and videos making things for the Apothecary, I kind of wanted it to all have a reference point for you to come back to. And I know that this is not everybody's cup of tea, pun intended. I am totally okay with that, but hopefully if you've made it this long in the video, it's something that you care about as well, or that you at least have maybe a slight interest in. I'm not here to try and make a case for Herbology or anything like that. I mean, to each his own. Everybody do you, and we're all just doing the best that we can. So this is not in any way to say what you should or shouldn't do. I just wanted to share what we are starting to implement in our home and where my interests have been lately, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. So thank you so much for coming along. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you're sure not to miss any in the future. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're at, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.